What is up, you guys? Sage here. Interested people watch obsessed people change the world. Very interesting. Not just in the first thing I think of is football, and you think of the fans watching Messi or Ronaldo doing, quite incredible things. Well, it's actually a level deeper than that. It's a layer deeper than that. There are people who are within the game, who are playing the game, that are interested. They're not obsessed. Those people I just named, Messi, Ronaldo, they live, they breathe, they eat, sleep football. And that's why they are who they are. Otherwise, they wouldn't be who they are. And in your industry, there are people that are interested. There are people who participate for the sake of participating because it's a job. And then there are people who are obsessed with the game, who are obsessed with the dream, who are obsessed with the vision, whatever it may be. And because of their obsession, they do whatever it takes. It goes back to the commitments that we keep to ourselves are the greatest forms of evidence that inform what we do in future. Meaning, if I told myself that I was going to record today, which I did, it's quarter past 12, um, so it's Sunday morning now. Told myself that I'm going to record because I need to make a backlog of shorts, or I would prefer to. But to be completely honest with you, it is a thought process of I need to do this. It has to happen today because I said it was going to happen today. And if I don't keep that promise to myself, then in future, at another point in time, I will desperately need my own diligence, and the the part of you that tends to doubt yourself will have something to feed off of, which is, oh, you remember that day when you said you were going to do that thing and you didn't do it? Yeah, let's just do that again. Versus if you constantly make it a point to keep those promises to yourself, then you set yourself up and you put yourself in a position to say, nah, no doubt, we don't do that. That's not how we behave. We have trained ourselves to behave in this way, not that way. When we say we're going to do something, we do it. It doesn't matter how, rain, high, high water, sunshine, doesn't matter. We get things done. That's who we are. That's what we do. Because we're not interested, we're obsessed. And to me, obsession doesn't only mean you're crazy about this thing, because it's very here. It's in this mind space. I like to operate here. I like to operate where the warrior is, right there. And it is realizing that it is the action. Yeah. You can think about it all you want. You can fantasize about being committed all you want. You can think about things in whatever way floats your boat and makes you the happiest. But at the end of the day, what will separate those of us from the rest is what we do. Period. And it is in that way. Interested people they're very, very interested. They watch every single tape on Ronaldo. They watch every single tape on Messi. They watch as much game footage as anyone else. But what does Messi do when he gets it? He gets it, he sees it, he sees what spots he needs to improve. He's seen so much of his own game footage that he knows when it was a tired day. He knows what he did the day before and how it affected the game because he's done something similar before and it affected it in a similar way. And so he's micro adjusting even his expectations prior to watching the video to, okay, this is what I should probably be able to expect this about around about this level of performance due to these factors. And then, okay, boom, okay, I see, okay, you see that was a mistake. Eric Thomas talks about unforced errors, and we use that term a lot in rugby, or I used that term a lot in rugby. But in rugby, it is a term that is used a lot, that is known, or in sport generally, I'd say, or I would assume, there's this thing. It's called unforced errors. When you make an unforced error in rugby, is when you, for example, there's no pressure from the defense, and you are executing some sort of move, and you drop the ball, knock on, scrum time. You are supposed to place a kick a certain way, comes off the side of your boot, goes out, you know, and that is creating a pressure, a consistent buildup of pressure against you, and a negative momentum against your own team. And none of those errors were forced by incredible opposition, incredible defense from the other side, and incredible application of whatever. When there's a lack of that, and you make errors regardless, those are unforced errors. To get to a certain level of success, to get to a certain level of proficiency, to get to a certain level of execution. Because effort is applauded, but execution is worshipped. To get to a certain level of execution, you have to be obsessed. To get to a certain level of showing up within the game, that obsession has to translate to a diligence. It has to translate to a certain level of showing up to where you make no unforced errors, to where you realize you can't afford to make unforced errors, especially against a high level of competition. And so, with that being said, I would love to add to this that one must choose their enemies wisely. Choose your rivals appropriately, and choose your enemies wisely. Your rivals being the people that you're going up against, the people that you're putting in your own head, or that you're seeing in real life, that are going after what you're going after. You know, begs the question: what would you do when 1,000 other people want what you want? What do you do when you're not the only one who wants to be number one in your company? What do you do when you're not the only one who wants to found a company that's going to create a certain goal? And maybe they don't have the big vision that you have, but if you don't win these small battles, then you'll never win the big vision. And so what do you do when 1,000 other people want exactly what you want at this level, in this moment in time? Because I don't know if people realize this, there's more competition at the bottom than there is at the top. I don't know if you guys deep this. More people think that it is feasible, acceptable, think that it is appropriate to have a mediocre life, an average life. And so there are literally more people going after average goals than there are people going after extraordinary goals. And so as soon as you break past the average and you break into the exceptional, the pool of people that you are actually bidding against, or that you're actually going against, gets smaller and smaller the bigger and bigger your vision and dream gets. uh, However, obviously the balance of that is the more you have to sacrifice in order to be there. But in a very very real way, you are competing with more people the smaller your dream is. Just food for thought. And so in these stepping stones, in going through these steps, there's a certain level of diligence, and the less unforced errors you can make, meaning the less you can not show up on that Saturday when you said you were going to show up for yourself, the less you can go out and skip this and sacrifice that. And it goes back to if you don't sacrifice for what you want, then what you want becomes a sacrifice. Either way, we are making and taking time all the time. All of the time, you are trading your time, your resources, your attention for something. And so it is either for what you want, or it is for something you don't want. And you may have your reasons for doing the thing that you don't want instead of the thing that you want. Whatever the case may be. But as you go higher and higher in levels of competition, the less you can afford to make those trade-offs from the thing that you want to do. And so it does get to a point where what matters more, uh, is it what you want to do, who you want to become, or is it the people that you're doing it for? um, and is it maybe a season in which you have to sacrifice the people in order to get to the thing, and then when you've gotten to the thing you can maybe elevate this and bring it to a higher level, versus if you focused on the people, the people, the people, the people, it doesn't work the other way. Perhaps I'm asking questions. I don't know. I haven't been majorly successful yet, so so I don't know these things. But what I have found, most often is this, and then that. I haven't yet seen examples of this that leads to, you know, and even if it's this and then that, you, no matter how, no matter how much time you spend with your kids, when they're older, you will never get back those formative years, you know? No matter how much time you spend on the back end, no matter how focused, diligent, whatever I am at this point in my life, now that I've gone back to formal education, tertiary education, boom, I nail it, cum laude, this, that, straight A's, what, no matter what I do from this point forward, I can never go back to high school and redo that. Like, yes, you can take time now to, go rewrite this and do that, but then you're taking away from this momentum that you're stacking here. And so there are those checks and balances, that life has gifted us with. There are these problems that God has gifted us with. What a blessing that it is, to be blessed with so many complex problems, to deal with in order to become such great and capable people, right? And so I say all of this to say that I've lost my train of thought. But I have lost my train of thought. But it is very, very, it is very important to me that I remember this thing. The commitments we keep to ourselves when no one is watching is the most persuasive evidence that governs everything we do every day thereafter. And also, the thing that I want to leave you with is, be wise enough to know when you're living in your dream. Even if you're not at the pinnacle, even if you're not at the most grand stage of your dream, be wise enough to realize that you're in it. Be wise enough to realize that it's happening now, and that this is also life. As much as, when you're in the dream and you can, afford those Ferraris, and you can do this for this person, do that for that person, also realize that there is a time when you will look back at where you are now fondly, in some way, shape, or form. Even if it's not, man, I wish I could go back and change this or change that. Even if it's in the context of, man, I wish I could go back just to experience that again. These are the moments that you're going to want to experience again. And someone said something, quite interesting earlier today. Before I started recording, I was watching this thing, and in which a man said he wishes he could go back, not because he would change anything, but simply because nowadays, in that position of a certain level of success, there's so many people who are dependent on him. There's so many people whose livelihoods are dependent on him. And so that there is a certain level of, you don't understand, I have to get up. like right now, we do kind of artificially create that for ourselves, in terms of, I always think about, the kid one day who's going to be sleeping with whatever book I've written at that time, under his pillow. I think of the kid who is looking to do extremely great things and needs to find my content. He needs to find my videos, and he needs me to be a very credible source in order to be able to relinquish a certain level of control and to be able to trust things that I say fully. And in order in order to realize that, in order for that to happen, then I have to get up. But there's a certain level of that that again is artificial, right? And then there comes the truth in the matter of when you're actually at that place, it's very, very different. And so he was just talking about the differences. He was talking about the differences between then being the young kid where I'm at now, and you're looking towards these dreams. No one's really depending on you truly to do this thing, but you just have this big dream, this big vision, this burning desire, and life is so much simpler because all you truly have to deal with is, man, here's this dream. How do I achieve it? And when you